Have you ever trusted someone so deeply that you ignored every warning sign right in front of you? Because that was my biggest mistake. Not loving too much, not working too hard, not even trusting the wrong people. My biggest mistake was believing betrayal only happened in movies and viral stories online. I never imagined it would happen to me. My name is Amelia Laurent, and 2 years ago, I almost lost my company, my future, and my sanity because of the two people I trusted more than anyone else in the world. One was my fiance, the other was the woman I called my sister for over a decade. And the worst part? They didn't just want to cheat on me, they wanted to erase me completely. If you enjoy emotional betrayal stories with shocking twists, satisfying revenge, suspense, and powerful endings, stay with me until the end because this story changed my life forever. 3 years ago, my life looked perfect from the outside. I owned Laurent House, one of the fastest growing luxury fashion brands in New York. Celebrities wore my designs. Fashion magazines called me the future of modern couture. Investors constantly chased meetings with me. And beside me through all of it was my fiance, Adrian Cole, charming, intelligent, calm under pressure, the kind of man who could walk into any room and instantly make people trust him. Then there was Vanessa Reed, my best friend since college. She knew everything about me, every insecurity, every dream, every scar. We built our lives together from nothing, or at least that's what I believed. The first time something felt wrong happened during a private dinner celebrating our upcoming Paris launch. The restaurant overlooked the Hudson River, glowing, glowing with candlelight and expensive champagne. Adrian sat beside me while Vanessa sat across from us smiling as investors congratulated our success. At one point, I accidentally dropped my fork under the table. When I bent down to grab it, I froze. Adrian's hand rested on Vanessa's thigh beneath the tablecloth, not casually, intimately, comfortably, like it had happened many times before. For a second, I couldn't breathe. Then Vanessa noticed my expression and immediately moved away. You okay, Amelia? She asked softly. Adrian turned toward me with concern already prepared on his face. You look pale. That moment stayed inside my mind all night. But instead of confronting them, I convinced myself I misunderstood what I saw. That's the dangerous thing about love. Sometimes your heart fights desperately against the truth because accepting reality would destroy the life you built emotionally. After that night, I started noticing things I previously ignored. Vanessa suddenly attended business meetings she never cared about before. Adrian constantly asked strange questions about company ownership structures, emergency executive protocols, and investor voting power. He also became overly affectionate whenever I seemed suspicious. Random gifts, surprise dinners, emotional speeches about our future together. Looking back now, I realize manipulative people often become sweetest when they sense you're starting to wake up. One night around 2 in the morning, I woke up and noticed Adrian wasn't in bed. I walked downstairs quietly and found him inside my office, staring at confidential company files on my laptop. The moment he saw me, he closed the screen too quickly. What are you doing? I asked carefully. Couldn't sleep, he answered casually. My stomach tightened immediately. Then I noticed something worse. He was holding my private archive drive containing unreleased collection designs worth millions. You don't trust me now? He asked calmly after noticing my expression. I crossed my arms slowly. Should I? For 1 second, his face changed. The warmth disappeared completely. Then, just as quickly, the charming version of Adrian returned again. You're stressed lately, he whispered while walking toward me. That sentence bothered me more than anything else because Vanessa had said the exact same thing earlier that week. You're stressed lately. Suddenly, their behavior felt rehearsed. A week later, everything changed. I received an anonymous email with no subject line. Inside were security photos, hotel receipts, deleted messages, and one image that nearly stopped my heart completely. Adrian and Vanessa kissing inside the underground parking garage beneath Laurent House headquarters. Tides born it 2 nights earlier. I stared at the photo for almost 5 minutes without moving. Not because they betrayed me, because suddenly every strange feeling I ignored finally made sense. The late nights, the secrecy, the fake concern, the emotional manipulation, and deep down, I knew this was bigger than an affair. Most people think revenge begins with anger. Mine began with silence. I didn't confront them. I didn't scream. I didn't cry in front of them. Instead, I hired someone, Damian Cross, former corporate intelligence investigator. Quiet, observant, dangerous in a way that made dishonest people nervous immediately. After reviewing the anonymous files, Damien leaned back in his chair and said something that changed everything. You're not just being cheated on, you're being prepared. I frowned. For what? He slid another folder across the desk. Someone had been accessing company archives using my credentials from Adrian's device. Large investor groups were quietly buying shares through shell companies connected to Vanessa. There were even draft psychiatric evaluations discussing concerns about my emotional instability. My blood went cold. They weren't planning to embarrass me. They were planning to remove me completely. For the next 3 weeks, I lived beside my enemies, pretending I knew nothing. I had dinner with Adrian while secretly collecting evidence against him. I smiled beside Vanessa during interviews, while Damien tracked her hidden financial accounts. Every single day felt emotionally poisonous. And honestly, pretending almost destroyed me more than betrayal itself. Some nights after Adrian fell asleep, I sat alone inside the bathroom, trying not to cry loudly enough for him to hear me. I kept replaying old memories, wondering if any part of our relationship had ever been real. Then one night, I made the mistake of checking Adrian's deleted messages while he slept beside me. I wish I hadn't. Vanessa had written, "She still worships you." Adrian responded, "That's why controlling her is easy." I physically felt something break inside my chest while reading those words, because betrayal hurts differently once you realize your love became someone else's strategy. The deeper Damien investigated, the uglier everything became. Adrian and Vanessa planned to leak unreleased collections, crash Laurent House stock value, frame me for emotional instability, then gain controlling ownership through investors already working with them privately. They even prepared fake medical concerns, suggesting stress was affecting my leadership decisions. One evening, Vanessa visited my penthouse, carrying wine and pretending concern. "You've seemed emotionally overwhelmed lately," she said carefully while studying my reaction. Interesting. Another rehearsed sentence. I smiled softly while pouring wine into crystal glasses. "You sound worried." "I am worried," she's answered. But something about her eyes felt wrong. Cold. Calculating. Like she was studying how close I was to breaking emotionally. That was the moment I realized something terrifying. Vanessa didn't only want Adrian. She wanted my life, the company, the success, the respect, the power. And envy becomes dangerous when it grows beside friendship for too long. A few days later, Damien called me urgently around midnight. "I found the investor meeting," he said. An hour later, we sat inside his car outside a private warehouse near Brooklyn watching surveillance footage on a laptop screen. Adrian and Vanessa sat with investors discussing my company. Then Adrian said the sentence that changed everything. "Once the leak happens, valuation collapses. Then we buy control cheap." For several seconds, I stared at the screen, unable to breathe. Laurent House wasn't just a business to me, it was my mother's legacy. And suddenly, my heartbreak disappeared completely. Because betrayal transforms into war the moment someone threatens everything you built. The fashion launch arrived 2 weeks later. Hundreds of guests attended. Celebrities, investors, reporters, cameras everywhere. Exactly the public stage Adrian and Vanessa wanted, and exactly the stage I planned to destroy them on. Backstage, Vanessa adjusted her designer gown, pretending confidence, while Adrian greeted investors like he already owned the company. Meanwhile, Damien quietly prepared the system override connected to the giant presentation screens. "You sure about this?" he asked one final time. I looked directly at Adrian, laughing beside investors across the room. "No," I answered honestly. Then I walked onto the stage. The audience applauded, while cameras flashed everywhere. I introduced the new collection calmly, while Adrian watched proudly from the front row, pretending to support me. Then suddenly, the presentation screens behind me changed unexpectedly. Confidential files appeared, fake psychiatric evaluations, financial concerns. Internal reports questioning my stability. Gasps filled the room instantly. Adrian stood immediately, pretending concern. Amelia, maybe we should stop this presentation. Vanessa rushed toward the stage dramatically. She hasn't been herself lately. Beautiful performance, almost believable, until I smiled. That smile changed everything. I slowly lifted the remote hidden in my hand and pressed one button. The screens changed instantly. Now the audience saw hotel footage of Adrian and Vanessa together. Secret investor meetings, hidden financial transfers, deleted messages discussing control of Laurent House. Then came the recordings. She trusts emotionally before she verifies logically. The room exploded into chaos. Investors started shouting. Reporters rushed forward. Cameras captured everything. Adrian's face turned completely white. Vanessa looked like she might collapse. And I still wasn't finished. Another recording played across the speakers. She doesn't need to survive. She just needs to sign. Complete silence filled the room. Then Vanessa suddenly screamed at Adrian. This was your idea. Adrian grabbed her arm aggressively. Shut up. Wrong move. Security immediately stepped between them while reporters filmed everything. Then I finally stepped forward toward them. You didn't just betray me, I said calmly. You tried to erase me. Neither of them spoke, because for the first time since this nightmare began, they realized the performance was over. Police entered the venue less than 10 minutes later. Corporate fraud, financial conspiracy, data theft, multiple charges. As officers led Adrian away, he looked back at me desperately. You ruined my life. I stared at him without emotion. No, I answered quietly. You ruined your own. 3 months later, Laurent House officially relaunched stronger than ever. Public support exploded after the scandal. Women connected deeply with the story. Messages flooded my social media from strangers sharing experiences involving manipulation, betrayal, cheating, and emotional abuse. But privately, healing remained difficult. There were nights I still woke up expecting Adrian beside me. Moments I questioned whether any part of our relationship had been real. Betrayal rewrites memories in cruel ways. One snowy evening, Damien found me sitting alone inside the design studio after midnight, staring at unfinished sketches. You okay? He asked quietly. I laughed softly. No idea. He sat beside me silently before finally saying something I'll never forget. You know what saved you? I looked at him. You paid attention before they finished convincing you not to trust yourself. That sentence changed my life because he was right. My instincts noticed the truth long before my heart accepted it. A year later, Forbes magazine named me one of the most influential women in fashion. During the interview, the reporter asked one final question. What did betrayal teach you? I smiled for several seconds before answering honestly. That losing dishonest people isn't loss, and for the first time in years, AB truly meant it. So, let me ask you something. If the two people you trusted most secretly planned to destroy your life, would you forgive them? Or would you make sure they regretted underestimating you forever? If this story shocked you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more emotional revenge stories filled with betrayal, suspense, and powerful endings.